Hello everybody. Welcome back to GH Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the issue that has rocked ABC General Hospital viewers to their core. A scandalous revelation at one of Port Charles' most anticipated weddings, Willow Tate and Drew Kane's ceremony. A shocking secret exposed by none other than Tracy Quartermaine has plunged the characters into chaos and heartbreak, forever altering the landscape of relationships within the community. As devoted viewers know, Drew Kane has not been without controversy. One significant conflict from his past involved Tracy Quartermaine, who once found herself behind bars due to Drew's actions. Although Tracy narrowly escaped further consequences thanks to Jason Morgan's timely intervention and bail, she never forgave Drew. Tracy's resentment toward Drew grew silently but intensely, evolving from frustration into an all-consuming desire for revenge. Tracy, a woman famed in Port Charles for her sharp tongue and unyielding determination, waited patiently for the perfect moment to strike back at Drew, ensuring the maximum damage possible to his personal life and public reputation. Tracy's opportunity finally arrived when Drew announced his plans to marry Willow Tate. While Tracy held no personal animosity toward Willow, she viewed the wedding as the ultimate opportunity to expose Drew's dark secrets publicly and humiliate him in the most profound manner. As the day of the wedding approached, Port Charles buzzed with excitement, unaware of the explosive revelation Tracy planned to unveil. On the day of the ceremony, friends, family, and other prominent Port Charles residents gathered in joyous anticipation. Willow, radiant and blissfully unaware of the impending disaster, stood ready to pledge her life to Drew. Drew himself appeared confident, genuinely believing he had put past grievances behind him. However, amid the warmth and anticipation in the crowded church, Tracy Quartermaine made a sudden, uninvited entrance, ensuring all attention was fixed firmly upon her. The air was thick with tension as Tracy spoke boldly and decisively, her voice cutting through the stunned silence. Without hesitation, Tracy publicly announced the startling truth that Drew had long hidden his past intimate encounter with none other than Nina Reeves, Willow's biological mother. The implications were devastating, deeply disturbing, and undeniably scandalous. Gasps of shock echoed throughout the gathering as Tracy provided details, leaving no room for doubt or denial. Willow's face turned pale as the betrayal sunk in deeply. Her world instantly shattered, the brutal revelation of Drew and Nina's betrayal bringing unimaginable emotional devastation. For Willow, the betrayal was especially profound because Drew and Nina were the two people she had begun trusting more than anyone else. Their relationship, nurtured carefully through trials and reconciliation, now stood irreparably damaged. Feeling the full impact of the humiliation, betrayal, and emotional devastation, Willow was overcome by intense grief and shock. Without speaking another word, she swiftly turned and exited the wedding venue, leaving Drew stunned, ashamed, and thoroughly exposed in front of all their guests. Port Charles had rarely witnessed a scene so heartbreaking and scandalous, and whispers quickly spread, intensifying the humiliation and embarrassment for everyone involved. Drew, meanwhile, stood rooted to the spot, a volatile combination of disbelief, humiliation, and overwhelming anger engulfing him. His wedding day, intended as the happiest moment of his life, had instead devolved into a nightmare orchestrated deliberately by Tracy. Drew's fury toward Tracy surged uncontrollably. Consumed by rage, Drew vowed publicly and privately that Tracy would pay dearly for this intentional humiliation. His threats were chilling and genuine. As Port Charles residents quickly realized that Tracy's actions would ignite a fierce conflict likely to reshape relationships and alliances throughout the community. The aftermath of Tracy's revelation rippled out dramatically across Port Charles. Nina, who had begun developing a genuine and fragile relationship with her daughter Willow, found herself crushed under the weight of guilt and shame. She faced fierce judgment from Port Charles residents and struggled to justify or defend her past actions. Nina's attempts to reach out to Willow were decisively rejected, leaving her isolated and deeply distraught, forced to accept that her relationship with her daughter had possibly been irreparably damaged. Willow's emotional trauma extended beyond betrayal. It reopened deep wounds stemming from past disappointments and familial abandonment. Struggling with intense feelings of anger, disbelief, and emotional betrayal, Willow withdrew from her community, choosing isolation over engagement. Friends such as Sasha Gilmore, Carly Spencer, and Elizabeth Weber attempted to comfort her, though Willow initially resisted their support, too deeply wounded and humiliated by the public revelation. Meanwhile, Drew Kane's life spiraled into chaos. Facing fierce public backlash and severe emotional repercussions, Drew became consumed with a single, unwavering goal: revenge against Tracy Quartermaine. Drew began systematically seeking ways to retaliate against Tracy, fueled by a relentless desire to deliver justice on his terms. Friends like Curtis Ashford, who previously had grievances with Drew, were forced into awkward and complicated positions. Unsure of how to navigate the escalating feud that had torn apart the social fabric of Port Charles, Tracy Quartermaine, for her part, remained steadfast and unapologetic in her actions. She boldly declared that Drew's suffering was deserved, justified by his past betrayal, and she vowed to remain unyielding, no matter the consequences. The town, now deeply divided over the events, became entrenched in taking sides, with some residents sympathetic toward Tracy's righteous fury, while others condemned her ruthless methods and cruelty toward Willow. Next, we will dive deep into the thrilling developments and heart-wrenching drama unfolding in Port Charles over the next 2 weeks, from June 23rd to July. Hello guys. Buckle up, fans, as we're in for a roller coaster of emotions with insider scoops, shocking alliances, and unexpected twists that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Let's unpack every juicy detail, starting with the explosive events of the first week and moving into the chaos of the second, with added layers of intrigue and fresh perspectives on the lives of our beloved characters. First, let's zoom in on the tumultuous week of June 23rd. The atmosphere in Port Charles is charged with tension as Portia Robinson finds herself at the center of a dramatic eruption. Her emotions overflow in a public setting, possibly at the hospital, where her frustration over mounting personal and professional pressures boils over. Could this outburst be tied to unresolved issues with Curtis Ashford or a clash with a colleague? Her fiery reaction sets the tone for an intense week, leaving those around her scrambling to understand the root of her distress. Meanwhile, Curtis steps up as the pillar of strength for their daughter, Trina Robinson, offering words of comfort amid her growing unease. Trina's world is shaken after receiving troubling news from Kai Taylor, a young man navigating a complicated relationship with Drew Kane. Kai initially approached Drew to decline a paid internship, perhaps due to ethical concerns or a gut feeling about Drew's motives. However, Drew, ever the smooth talker, countered with a lucrative second offer that Kai couldn't refuse, a deal that might include perks like access to exclusive resources or a promise of mentorship. This decision horrifies Trina, who fears Kai is walking into a trap laid by the cunning Drew. Curtis, however, reassures Trina with a steely resolve, hinting at a potential downfall for Drew that could come sooner than anyone expects. Could Curtis be privy to a secret plan or a hidden scandal that will unravel Drew's empire? Fans are left to speculate as the stakes continue to rise. Elsewhere in Port Charles, Nina Reeves stuns everyone by forging an unlikely partnership. This surprising alliance, perhaps with a former rival or an unexpected figure from her past, becomes her secret weapon in a desperate bid to prevent Willow Tate Corinthos from tying the knot with Drew. Nina's mind races with conflicting emotions as she grapples with whether to reveal a scandalous truth about her past intimate dealings with the congressman. Her hesitation is fueled by a warning from Ava Jerome, who points out that Willow might dismiss Nina's claims as bitter fabrications, and Drew could easily spin a web of denial to protect his image. Ava's cold logic forces Nina to rethink her strategy, potentially leading her to dig deeper for irrefutable proof or to enlist her new ally in a scheme to expose Drew. The tension between truth and deception builds as Nina walks a tightrope, knowing that one wrong move could cost her everything. At the same time, Drew stumbles upon critical insider information that could change the game entirely. This intel might be linked to a shady deal involving a judge presiding over a heated custody battle, perhaps one that directly impacts the Corinthos family. Whispers of bribery and corruption swirl around this revelation, painting Drew as a man willing to play dirty to secure his future. Meanwhile, Willow, unaware of the storm brewing behind the scenes, seeks out Michael Corinthos to share an update on her plans. This conversation takes a dark turn as Michael, wrestling with his own anger and betrayal, contemplates a drastic measure, cutting Willow off from her children permanently. The weight of this decision hangs heavy, threatening to fracture their family beyond repair. In a surprising twist, Carly Spencer emerges as the voice of reason, urging Michael to step back from the ledge and reconsider his harsh stance. Her words carry a mix of maternal wisdom and hard-earned experience, reminding Michael of the pain of losing family ties. Will Carly's intervention be enough to mend the growing rift, or has too much damage already been done? The drama escalates further as Brooklyn Quartermain witnesses something that ignites her fury. Her blood boils at the sight of a private moment, possibly involving Giovanni Joe Palmieri and Lula Spencer, who recently shared a heartfelt conversation. Could Brooklyn have misinterpreted their interaction as something romantic, or is there a deeper secret at play that threatens her own relationships? The mystery deepens as Marco Rios arrives with a delivery that could hold critical information about the late Britt Westburn. This package might contain personal letters, medical records, or even a hidden message from beyond the grave that sheds light on unresolved mysteries tied to Britt's life and death. Simultaneously, Alexis Davis turns to Elizabeth Liz Baldwin for reassurance. Despite Liz's promise to Christina Corinthos Davis to keep a sensitive matter under wraps, Alexis isn't taking any chances. Her probing questions might hint at a larger conspiracy. She subtly revealed that Rick Lansing has known the truth about a significant secret all along. This subtle exchange layers the narrative with suspense, as fans wonder what bombshell Rick might be sitting on. As we transition into the week of June 30th, the spotlight shifts to Sonny Corinthos, whose fate hangs in the balance. A dramatic event, perhaps a confrontation with a long-standing enemy or a health scare, keeps viewers glued to their screens as Sonny navigates uncharted territory. Adding to the intrigue, Emma Scorpio Drake embarks on a seemingly innocent mission to find the owner of a lost dog. But what if this furry friend is part of a larger scheme orchestrated by Vaughn, the cunning WSB handler? Vaughn might be using the dog as a tool to establish trust and common ground with key players in Port Charles, weaving a web of manipulation that could ensnare even the most cautious residents. This subplot introduces a delightful yet suspicious twist, blending everyday charm with undercurrents of espionage. Finally, all eyes turn to Willow's impending wedding to Drew. The ceremony promises to be a spectacle of romance and drama, with every detail meticulously planned from the elegant venue at the Quartermain estate to Willow's stunning gown. However, whispers of a bombshell loom on the horizon. Imagine the gasps as a shocking revelation disrupts the vows, potentially exposing Drew's hidden agenda or a secret from Willow's past that threatens to derail everything. Could Nina's efforts to sabotage the union come to fruition at the 11th hour, or will an entirely new player step forward with game-changing information? The possibilities are endless, ensuring that this wedding will be anything but ordinary. Next, we will delve into the intriguing and potentially dangerous twists surrounding Jack Brennan's latest gift from Carly Spencer. In the world of Port Charles, even the most heartfelt gestures can carry hidden perils, and this personalized wrench might just be the key to a shocking future storyline. Join us as we explore the layers of this seemingly innocent moment from the June 16th episode, and cover new angles, and speculate on the dark possibilities that could transform this tool into a deadly weapon. With drama always simmering beneath the surface, let's dive into every detail of this unfolding mystery and what it could mean for Brennan, Carly, and the residents of General Hospital. Let's start with the tender moment that set this intriguing plot in motion. By the shimmering poolside in the June 16th episode of General Hospital, Carly Spencer expressed her heartfelt appreciation to Jack Brennan with a uniquely thoughtful gift. The item in question, a sturdy, heavy-duty wrench engraved with the playful phrase, "To a Jack of all trades." This charming inscription harkens back to a cozy, domestic scene earlier in their storyline, where Brennan rolled up his sleeves to fix a stubborn water issue in Carly's kitchen. During that moment, he revealed a personal tidbit: his father was a plumber, which explained his unexpected knack for repairs. Carly, touched by his handyman skills and the glimpse into his past, chose this wrench as a symbolic token of gratitude. Brennan's reaction was one of genuine delight, his face lighting up as he declared it might be the most meaningful gift he'd ever received. Their exchange was a rare bright spot amidst Port Charles' usual chaos, showcasing a softer side to both characters. But in a town where peace is often fleeting, could this sweet gesture hide a sinister potential? The emphasis on such a hefty, utilitarian object raises eyebrows. What if this wrench is destined for a purpose far beyond fixing leaks? Now, let's unpack the darker implications of this gift. At first glance, the wrench is just a tool, a quirky keepsake tied to a shared memory. However, its sheer size and weight make it an ideal candidate for something far more ominous. Imagine a scenario where this very wrench, so personal to Brennan due to its engraving, becomes a murder weapon in a twisted future plot. It's not hard to picture a cunning adversary sneaking into Brennan's space, perhaps during a late-night confrontation at his garage or a quiet moment at home, and swiping the wrench from his toolbox. With the personalized message practically screaming Brennan's ownership, it could be used to bash an unsuspecting victim over the head, leaving behind a trail of evidence that points directly at him. The police, finding the wrench at the crime scene, might jump to conclusions, framing Brennan for a crime he didn't commit. Could this be the work of a longtime enemy, someone like a shadowy figure from his past with ties to the underworld, looking to settle an old score? The setup would be devastatingly perfect, turning Carly's kind gesture into a cruel instrument of betrayal. Alternatively, let's consider a scenario where Brennan himself wields the wrench in a moment of desperation. We've seen Brennan navigate treacherous waters before, whether it's dodging threats from criminal associates or entangling himself from dangerous deals. Picture a high-stakes encounter in a dimly lit alley or an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Port Charles, where Brennan finds himself cornered by a ruthless foe. With no other weapon at hand, he reaches for the wrench, the weight of it familiar in his grip, and uses it to defend himself. In the heat of the struggle, the outcome could be fatal, leaving Brennan with blood on his hands literally and figuratively. The aftermath would be a moral quagmire for him. Does he report the incident and risk exposure, or hide the truth, knowing the wrench ties him directly to the scene? This potential storyline would test Brennan's limits, exploring whether his survival instincts outweigh his principles, and how far he's willing to go to protect his new life in Port Charles. Of course, there's another chilling possibility to consider: the wrench falling into the wrong hands entirely. Perhaps it's not Brennan or a deliberate enemy who uses it, but a third party with their own agenda. Imagine the wrench being stolen during a chaotic, even say, a break-in at Brennan's place during a larger conflict involving the Corinthos family or a rival mob faction. This unknown assailant could use the tool for nefarious purposes, targeting someone completely unrelated to Brennan, like a business rival or even a random resident caught in the crossfire. The wrench, with its telltale engraving, would still circle back to Brennan, dragging him into a mess he had no part in creating. The writers of General Hospital have a knack for weaving such unexpected connections. And this could introduce a new character, a mysterious thief or a vengeful newcomer with a personal vendetta that complicates the narrative further. The wrench, in this case, becomes a symbol of unintended consequences, a reminder that in Port Charles, even the smallest objects can ignite massive conflicts. Adding another layer to this speculation, let's imagine how Carly might react if her gift becomes the centerpiece of a crime. She intended the wrench as a token of friendship, a light-hearted nod to a shared moment, but discovering its role in violence would shatter her. Picture Carly sitting in her living room, the weight of guilt pressing down as she learns from a news report or a tearful Brennan that her gift was used to harm someone. Her protective instincts might kick in, driving her to investigate who could have misused it and why. This could lead to a deeper partnership between her and Brennan, as they work together to clear his name or uncover the true culprit. Alternatively, it might strain their budding connection, with Carly wrestling with whether her trust in Brennan was misplaced. Could this be the spark for a rift, or will it draw them closer in a fight for justice? The emotional stakes for Carly add a personal dimension to the wrench's potential transformation into a weapon, making this storyline resonate on multiple levels. Let's not forget the broader context of Port Charles, where every object and interaction is scrutinized by fans and characters alike. The General Hospital writers place notable focus on this oversized wrench during the episode, lingering on its details and the exchange between Carly and Brennan. This deliberate attention suggests it's more than just a prop, it's a Chekhov's gun of sorts, introduced now to play a pivotal role later. Whether it's used in an act of violence, as evidence in a frame-up, or as a means of survival, the wrench stands as a ticking time bomb in the narrative. Perhaps the upcoming episodes will tie its significance to a larger arc, maybe a turf war brewing among the town's power players or a personal vendetta tied to Brennan's mysterious history as a man with hidden connections. The possibilities are endless, and the suspense of waiting to see how this plays out is part of what keeps us hooked on General Hospital's unpredictable storytelling. There you have it, loyal viewers, a deep dive into the seemingly innocuous gift of a wrench that could very well become a fatal weapon in the hands of friend or foe. From the heartfelt moment of Carly's gesture to the chilling prospects of murder, framing, or self-defense, this storyline brims with potential for heartbreak and suspense. Will Jack Brennan find himself at the center of a deadly scandal because of this personalized tool, or will it save him in a moment of crisis? How will Carly cope if her thoughtful gift turns into a source of pain? And who else in Port Charles might have their eyes on this unassuming object? ABC General Hospital spoilers hint at more curveballs on the horizon, and we'll be here with every update on whether this wrench unleashes havoc or remains just a quirky memento. Stay tuned to our channel for the latest twists, and let us know your theories in the comments. We're just as eager as you are to see where this dangerous gift leads next.